Hi, John here doing interview my good friend Jana. So Jana, how are you?
I am good today, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you. I like your background, everything. You look really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. It's new.
It's very professional. I like it. And
Thank.
best life wellness. I like
Yep.
it.
Yep. It's getting kicked off, and I have my first coaching people going through with me, and it's very exciting, and it's been very rewarding so far too. And a year ago, I never would have thought that I would be sitting here doing an interview with you or saying I'm a coach.
Isn't that
And
awesome?
it's really amazing. It is an amazing feeling.
Yeah, a year ago, I wouldn't even be saying I'd be doing an interview. I had no idea. I mean, I would like tell my kids, "Oh, you need to get on YouTube. You should get on YouTube." And I'm just like, but I never thought that I'd be doing interviews. And actually, I really enjoy it. It's like probably one of my favorite things to do. Even I enjoy teaching my course too. And yes, like you, it's like, oh, I guess I am a coach. I guess I've always been a coach. So had to, it's been an awareness process of and a huge growth process for all of us. And I've seen it in you too.
Oh, thank you.
And I didn't know you before, but just from the time that I've known you, I've seen the growth and I've even seen my own growth.
Oh, it's interesting. For those watching that don't know, John and I met in Bear Bang's group,
Right.
and the girls that were in there and I kind of talked, and the minute that you got your dot, you got what you were doing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you just completely lit up and everything changed. And it was so exciting to see. It's like, woohoo, John's got it.
My light turned on.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
I'm hearing that little Sunday school song right now.
Yeah. Uh,
But yeah, it was like an aha moment. And that only came because I don't know if you did the same. I didn't focus on trying to just sit at home and build some course or find I just started reaching out and encouraging people, and then it just came to me that that's what I enjoyed. And that was my dot or my gift and calling.
uh-huh.
And
You know,
yeah.
my journey has been different. Different. And you know, and I consider, so this is what I've told the girls in the groups and stuff too. I consider you a healer, you, John.
Thank
Even though,
you.
I've been an acupuncturist, a licensed acupuncturist for almost 24 years, and in the natural health business for over 30. And I consider myself a healer, among other things. But anyway, because of your outlook on life and who you serve and what you're doing it for, I see you healing. I see you healing yourself. I see you healing others,
Yeah.
and that's a special journey, John. And the one thing I want to say is healers always have hard lives to some extent. We
Oh,
we
thanks,
look
Jan.
at we look at them we look at them as blessings, things that we've had to go through.
Oh, you mean that okay, so in the past I've had a hard life, so now I know how to
Right.
feel because I've experienced wounds and that, yeah, and I feel deeply for people who have been hurt or feel outcast or, yeah, okay, I
That's the
empathy.
thing.
Yeah, okay. Right, okay, I got that. I'm all like, no, I don't want a hard life. But I guess
No,
I've already
you
had a
don't.
hard life.
I don't think you need to have any more hard things go on.
No, no.
I think you've gone
But
through. Let's hope God says that you've been through the refiner's fire and you're on the other side.
right, and I well now as I go through things, my outlook's changed. That thank you, Lord, for this blessing, this time to learn, this time to reflect. That I know that through the past that I've come out better and more, and I refuse to protect my heart and close up and to disconnect. because that's not what we're meant to do. Fear is, if you live in fear, you disconnect and you live alone and disconnected, versus in love you're connected, and that's how God wants us to be, connected in love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of how I got into natural health in the beginning. Well, that I was born a sickly kid, and I didn't have a whole lot of an immune system. So, and my mother believed in the power of medicine, but it was MDs. And
Okay.
so, you know, from a very young age, literal toddler, I had to get gamma globulin shots, which are
Oh,
horrible. You know, the
what is
serum's
that?
super thick, and it's to boost your immune system.
Really?
And you know, just horrible thick. And the nurses or whoever would come in to give me the shot and just almost have tears in their eyes because they knew how bad it would hurt this little kid to give him the shot. And I wouldn't even flinch. I'd watch him give it to me and they'd say, holy cow. It was just my life. You know, you get used to things if you
Right.
have them happen all the time. But when my second son was born, and he had some of the same immune issues I had, and they didn't know what to do with him. Had been on antibiotics almost his entire life, you know,
Wow.
and had his tonsils out at 2 because they were deteriorating.
Oh.
And my mom was sick with rheumatoid arthritis, and my dad had had a stroke in his spinal column. And I'm going, you know, this MD stuff isn't for me.
No, no.
And I was going through a divorce of my youngest son's dad, and I were getting divorced, and I had a nervous breakdown. I just thought, this, you know,
That's a hard
what's
time.
going, oh yeah. You know,
Horse is not fun.
it's no fun.
No.
And you know, especially when you think this is it. This is the one, and it's
Yeah.
gonna take, and it's gonna be wonderful.
Right.
And he was older than me by 14 years, and I thought he was this settled, established businessman. And little did I know there was other things going on behind my back and things. But yeah, when we split up and he left me, I mean, I was willing to stay till the bitter end,
Which
but
is, that's hard too, because there's always one, when the one that's done is usually done. The other one's like, oh, that's the harder
well,
part.
and you know, he and I have remained good friends now that, you know, once the pain got over with,
Yeah, yeah.
because, you know, we
The
had
kids
Casey. And
done together, yeah.
but it was interesting because his first wife left him after 21 years of marriage
Oh, wow.
for her high school sweetheart. And because I was 14 years younger, the excuse he gave me was, I'm just going to go ahead and leave you now, leave you first before you get a chance to leave me.
That
And it was
I think
like,
I think some
excuse
people
me?
do that. I think some people do that because they're afraid to get hurt, so they're going to be the first one to bail.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
heard something
And
similar to that. Yeah.
it was really hard. It was really hard. And I pretty much totally shut down. And, you know, I'm a mom. I had 3 little kids at the time. And my mom said, I'm going to take you to my acupuncturist. And I said,
What's that?
I guess if you want to take me to some voodoo witch doctor,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're going to pay for it, I'll go. And I went in and laid on this gal's table, and she stuck just a few needles in and stuck a Kleenex in my hand. And she said, just go to a safe place in your mind, and I'll be back in just a little bit.
Oh, really?
And I sat there and, well, laid there on the table and just teared, and just had the tears roll down my cheeks, because it was the first time in months that I could actually see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow.
And she and I actually got to be very, very close. And about my 3rd visit in, she says, so, you know, you're a free woman now, and you've got to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life. So when you come back next week, I want to know. I said, okay. And I came back and I said, so I've decided I want to be a naturopathic doctor. And she looked at me and she said, Jana, you'd really suck at that. I said, gee, thank you. And I said, well, what I really want to do is I want to be an acupuncturist, but we live in a real small community, and I don't want to, you know, be in competition with you.
Right,
He
right.
says, you'd make the most fantastic acupuncturist in the world. And I just, you know, I said, okay, it's a done deal. So I had to go back to get my undergrad work done, and I did that in Idaho. And then I looked around for grad schools because here, like I said, I had three little kids in tow.
Oh yeah.
I thought, what am I going to do? And my dad did everything to keep me from taking them because dad was a little bit of a control freak and very stubborn. Like, he gave a lot of that to me. But anyway, I finally decided that I wanted to go to Seattle. And so I went over there, and I had to make some really hard decisions. Am I going to take my kids? Am I not? I can't live without my kids the whole time that I'm over there. And so God and I made a deal.
Oh wow.
It was one of those things. I knew that I had been divinely led to be an acupuncturist. After I'd gotten that initial treatment, it was like, this is an amazing thing. And I've always tried to have a pretty good relationship with God.
Right.
And in fact, I used to always say I'm his favorite.
Wait,
Because
wait,
I've
wait,
been
wait. That I am his favorite.
well, I've been in so many tight situations and such hot water, and he saved me. So I figured there must be a reason.
Right.
But anyway, so that was the thing. As I said, okay, if God, if you can get me and my kids through grad school, and with them unscathed and hurt by
Right,
being in
right.
a big city, because we lived in little tiny town, Idaho.
Yeah, right.
And I said, I will never, ever, ever turn any of your children away, regardless of if they can pay or not.
Oh, nice.
And I've lived by that, the whole time. And because he stood by that promise. And the other end of that is because even then I had, the beginnings of autoimmune issues, and that had carried. I was never diagnosed in youth except with scoliosis, but there were things that went on. And I said, and when I got out of grad school, I said, okay, I'll carry this on as long as you keep me vertical. You keep me vertical, and I will serve, and I will take care of your children. And I think that was a big thing when I got so sick. When COVID hit, I got really, really sick.
Yeah.
Um, it had since my parents passed away, the stress of that really kicked in the autoimmune issues. And by the time COVID hit, my parents had been gone 8 and 9 years. And just before it hit, just before everything got closed down, Casey, the one who owns this house over here in Oregon, he said, I want to go to Oregon because we loved it here. And he says, we're gonna rent a house for a month.
Right.
And we're just going to take February and go over there. Because he works on wind farms all over the country. And
Oh,
so
we
he
have
makes
tons of
pretty
wind
good.
farm. We have wind farms here.
Yep, he's been down there.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, we were in the house next door, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I thought, this is not good. I don't know what's going on. And I was doing all this research. In the middle of this, I saw all these things about what is this virus that they're all talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And but anyway, this house was for sale. And I told him, I said, buddy, you really need to start investing your money instead of just spending it on big screen TVs and building computers and all
Yeah, yeah,
that good
yeah.
stuff that
And
guys
grow
do.
up.
And by heck, here again, things fell into place, and he bought this house, and I spend a lot of time here. So anyway, I kept coming over here and kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And then one night last year about this time, probably a few weeks later than this, I was scrolling through social media. Casey wasn't here, it was just me, and an ad for UPW came across my feed. And I'm thinking, Tony helped get me through grad school, because between my undergrad work and my graduate work, my Casey's dad, even though we were divorced and everything, like I said, we'd got to be pretty good friends after the pain went away of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
divorce. And had given me these Tony Robbins tapes, Personal Power.
Oh, I remember
So,
those, the old
right, and they
yeah.
were on little cassette tapes. And so it was like a 14-hour drive between Seattle and Salmon, and I was going back and forth all the time getting moved, and I'd listen to those tapes, and it was like, this is great stuff.
I remember
And
those.
yeah, And I kind of would listen to those all the time, even though that I'd gone through them once. I would do it again and again, and anyway, and I really think that that helped me, you know, really get through grad school. And but anyway, so I thought, this UPW, it's kind of expensive, but I've got to do something. You know, the doctors aren't helping me. I'd been to the doctors, I'd had all this testing done. They knew that I had food intolerances and histamine issues and inflammatory issues. And they put me on restrictive diets, and nothing had worked. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to lay here and die. I don't want to go yet. I'm going to try this.
Right.
And um, you know, the end of the first day, being so sick and doing a 16-hour day the first day, I thought, I'm not going to make it through the other 30. There's no way. But this is kind of cool stuff. And by the end of the second day, it was like, I'm good to go. And by the end of the 4 days, I'd signed up for Mastery University
Oh,
and a
wow.
Tony Robbins personal coach for accountability. And I was on my way. Everything changed. Everything changed. And here again, it was only because my mind had changed. And I thoroughly believe that if you believe in something enough, that your mind will drag your body along.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anyway, and the rest is kind of a blur. It was like this domino effect. I went home and to Idaho, and I did wealth mastery. And when my parents passed away, they had this large ranch in Idaho, and they had split they'd split part of it off already for us three kids, and because I have a brother and sister from my dad's previous marriage, and then he'd left part of it for us to divide, which was a real mistake. Don't ever do that to your children, John. Have everything set in stone.
Okay.
um, but I'd been trying to sell these two little rental houses that I just didn't want to deal with anymore for 3 years, and all of a sudden they sold.
Oh, nice.
And I have a grandson who's going to be 14 years old this year, and he still thinks it's cool to hang out with grandma, and I know
That's
that's not going to last that much longer.
fun.
So I went out and I bought a motorhome after doing wealth mastery, because Scotty and everybody said, buy things you can't afford, so you have to make money to pay for them.
Wait, really?
Yeah. They said, live up that standard, you know, so that you don't
That
want to
almost sounds
slide
like getting
backwards.
debt, so you have to work harder to get out. But
Kinda. But thank goodness that, you know, I didn't have to go in debt, because I just sold the rentals.
right,
And
right.
so I did that, and my grandson and I, we went to Yellowstone, and
Yeah.
Yellowstone had a big flood last year,
Oh,
but we got to, and it was, I'm going, the first weekend in Yellowstone, it's going to be pretty cold, but that was when I could get rooms, and we went on the trail ride for dinner and everything, and it was just fantastic.
nice.
All the little red dogs, which are baby bison, were out, and it was just so
Oh,
cute. We saw 14 baby bear
wow.
and 3 adult bears, and it was just crazy. We had such a good time. And then we went across country to Rapid City, and then north, but we went to Custer's big little Bighorn battlefield.
Right.
We went to Devil's Tower. We went all over. We went to the Mammoth site below Rapid City, and we learned how to throw atlatls.
What are that?
And
That
not everybody knows what an atlatl is. Do you know what an
that
atlatl is?
no, what's that?
So it's a spear that the Indians used in ancient
Oh,
times, that has this little wooden cutout that goes at the back of the spear. And when you throw it, it makes it go a lot further.
they have those
And
in Africa. They have that too.
yeah, same
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
And so anyway, we went through atlatls, because I'm just that kind of grandma. I
yeah,
unfortunately love sharp objects, because I'm
yeah,
an acupuncturist, you know.
yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But we had a grand time, and hopefully we're gonna repeat that this summer, as far as go somewhere. But anyway, and then I came home when he went back to his parents, and came back here, and Time to Thrive came across my
Yeah.
feed. I thought that looks like a really good thing. Oh, but I did UPW in July too.
Oh,
And
you
I
did
met
it
Bear,
again. And that's when
Bear
you,
Bangs,
yeah,
our friend.
I know. You don't bet.
And he and I kind of got to know each other because he took notes. And I thought, well, that's really cool. And then there he was in Time to Thrive too. And, hey, Bear. And anyway, the domino effect just kept going. I did Project Next. And in the meantime of all this, I ran across, because my mind was doing great.
Mhm.
And I thought, I must be doing really well. Well, on that vacation with Bill, my daughter-in-law took a picture of me, and I knew that I'd gained weight, but I had no idea,
Oh,
none, because I've always been a thin person, not skinny, but thin.
right.
And I knew that I was heavy. I did not know that I was that heavy. And it was like, holy cats, this has
Yeah.
got to stop.
Who is this?
And I had tried everything, and the doctors couldn't even understand why I wasn't losing any weight. But I found a metabolic reset diet, and I signed up for that and did that. And lo and behold, 30 pounds just kind of left. And it was hard. It was really hard. If I had not been in natural medicine, I never could have held on,
Oh, really?
because the detox process of losing all that inflammation and
Yeah.
all the stuff that was stored in my body,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
just crazy. But I knew, I kept praying every night before I go to bed. Okay, God, please let tomorrow be the day that I feel better, because I knew it was coming. I just
Oh,
had to
because you
hold
felt that
tight.
bad?
Oh, it was bad. It was
Wow.
bad.
Oh, because all those toxins are stored up in there.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a boatload from everything that was going on, and that had me, I mean, John, when I say that healers have to go through a lot of crap,
Yeah,
I've
okay.
had MRSA twice. I've
Oh,
had an intestinal infection. I have two autoimmune issues that are really serious as far as the doctors are concerned. I have scoliosis quite badly. I'm really supposed to be 6 foot tall, and I'm only 5'6".
yeah.
There's that much curve in my spine, and
Wow.
because of this curve, I have really bad degenerative disc disease, and the
Oh,
doctors wanting to do surgery, and I keep going, nope. And thank goodness my neurosurgeon agrees with me. It's not
oh, that's
time yet.
nice. Oh, good.
But anyway, after that magical morning finally came, and things started feeling better, um, that's about the time that Time to Thrive came on, and I did that. And right after that, I found the gentleman who is the mentor for all, the people who do the reset. He mentors alternative healthcare practitioners like myself, and teaches them functional medicine and the different things to use to do this reset program. And so I signed up for a mentorship with him.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and then, we had Bears group,
Yeah,
and
that's great.
had these other things go on. And the mentorship for the reset program actually only started in July, but I'm in class 3 days a week with that, and then I've got 2 days of other stuff, other classes that I do. And um, I did my first 3-day event to onboard my beta group for
Right.
my metabolic reset program. And that was on, anyway, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of January.
Uh-huh.
I've got my first group going through now, and we are doing a twist on it and throwing in all sorts of mindset resets
Nice.
as well, because I believe, like you and I were just talking, and when I said, if you can believe in your mind, if you can manifest the change in your mind, your body has no choice but to follow. And I know that's what saved me. So I'll be really interested in a few weeks when we get done with my first group to have
Uh,
feedback from them. But so far it's been positive.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I saw like you had some pictures that were like showing, and you, I mean, look at you, you're like, you look so healthy. And 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 like the picture that you had, it's like, wow, and the time span was hardly any in between.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I just, like I said, the mindset first. When I went and bought the motorhome and got it home and everything, the people that bought the little rental houses, um, we've actually gotten pretty close. And so he showed me how to hook up my pickup to tow behind it and everything. And mom and dad had a motorhome, and my dad did construction. He poured runways, concrete runways for Air Force bases all over the country.
Oh, okay.
So I got to travel when I was young, and he taught me how to drive when I was like 12.
Oh,
And and taught me how to drive big trucks and stuff when I was like 14. And so when they had their motorhome, I'd drive it quite a bit, drive him
right.
around stuff. And so, and theirs was bigger than the one that I bought. And he's going, so which way are you going? And I said, oh, I'm going to go up Lolo Pass, up over the Bitterroots, which is the Continental Divide,
Yeah.
and turn and go through Wisdom, which is this little tiny road through the mountains and by this, river and everything. And he goes, you're brave. And I said, well, there's a fine line between brave and stupid, and I
Yeah.
seem to ride that line a
Yeah.
lot. I said, but we're good. We're all good. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fast. It's been intense. I plan on going full tilt with this thing. I'm going to have another event in April. I haven't quite set the dates yet.
Nice.
And I'm going to have Starlink hooked up to my RV,
Oh,
because in April I am also heading east to see my
okay.
grandson and my boys. So
It's
they're
nice.
scattered all across the US.
Oh, they're all over the place, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just been amazing, this whole journey. It's like I think I started in with Time to Thrive, and then did the other one, the challenge. And but I had done UPW like in the late 80s, like
Uh-huh.
early 90s. I think it was 1991, because I found like some cards from there. And then
I wish I would have known about it back then. Holy cow.
but it was so different. I mean, it was the same information, but what I mean by different is you didn't have the connection that you have now.
Uh-huh.
Where I mean, I did make some friends, and we stayed connected for a short time, because you had to like physically meet, you know, to
Right.
to connect. And so a couple times we met in like a library hall or something like that. But then no, it just everybody goes back. But now with the internet and Zoom and everything else, I mean, we're connected with people all over the world.
Oh yeah.
And we
Yeah.
built great friendships and collaborations, and it's everyone you can stay motivated and cheer each other on. So you don't have where you're just like doing it yourself. Because I don't I realize I don't do well by myself, as far as I'm always like better in a group or in a collaboration. And I think that it just works way better for me.
I know the accountability for me,
Yeah.
it's like I probably jumped the gun on my 3-day event in my beta group in a way, but I wanted to get it started right after the first of the year, because that's when everybody's thinking about health, and they've
Right.
just been gluttons over the holidays. And
Yeah,
that's when
exactly. You feel
that's when they
good.
start thinking about it. And I knew that I wouldn't probably follow through. I'd just keep pushing it back and pushing it back.
Yeah, no.
And so in December, I think it was the first part of December, I called Bear on the phone and I said, I have something to ask you. And he says, well, what? And I said, would you be my MC? Because
Oh,
I knew that if he said yes and we scheduled it, that I would not back out.
no.
And yeah. And so, yeah, it kind of just gave me and by that time, we'd had his group for a couple of weeks,
Right,
and
right,
um, I was feeling better about, being out on Zoom and doing things.
right.
And everybody, we were all doing videos and trying to get braver and
Yeah,
doing all
yeah,
that stuff.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
the coaching thing, I feel like I've been a coach for 24 years
Yeah, me
or
too. I've
more.
always been a coach. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's basically what I did in my practice. It was one-on-one, but that's what I did. And I do want to write a book, because now that I'm not really doing my one-on-one practice, I don't want to lose all the experiences that I had,
Right.
because I had some really special experiences. Here again, God gave me some experiences that just, it was just amazing. I'm somewhat of an empath. I think you have to be in the healing field.
Yeah.
And when my kids were little, I kept thinking, I'm going to have to lose one of these kids. I don't know why, but one of these kids, I'm going to have to go through that. And I just prayed all the time, please, please, God, I can't. I just can't do that. And he answered that prayer, but he gave me another one, because I had this little girl that I treated for 9 years. And when I first had her come into the practice, she was only supposed to live for 6 months after that. And it was really important for her to make it to her 12th birthday. And she
Um,
was only 9, at the time. And anyway, she died when she was 12 and a half. So she got her full 3 years, that doctors didn't expect her to get.
right.
And but she came into my office every day that I was open, and
Um,
I had her at my house usually um every other weekend. She was the middle child of 12, 13 children. I can't remember, but I mean, huge family. And she had scleroderma, which is a really horrible disease. And it pretty much turns you into a living statue. And
oh,
so
I've heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, any bumping or anything, and then she got to the point where, all of her joints and everything were frozen. So if the little kids would bump into her not meaning to, it would just hurt her so bad.
Oh,
So she would rather come at my house, and she was the same age as my youngest son, Casey. And all my kids, since we lived on the ranch, we didn't live with my parents, but we lived on the ranch. And if she was coming over, my kids would go, okay, we're going to grandpa and grandma's, and let her and I have the day to.
okay.
And so she was like mine. And that was, here again, it wasn't mine, but she was mine still. And I got to be there when she passed away, the day that she passed away. And it was, to this day, I love her.
Yeah, yeah, you got to love her and love on her, and
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so I want to write a book, because I have a lot of those little special experiences like that I don't want to lose, because I'm getting into this coaching thing. I want to put those together kind of in a memoir, and so that I can focus more on moving forward, because I'm so focused on moving forward.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, what, like my wife was always going to write a book, and she was a great writer. And my youngest, well, all my daughters are great writers, but my youngest daughter's really, really good. Um, and what, I mean, well, my advice usually is just write a story at a time. So maybe write maybe not even the whole story, but maybe write like one of the events that happened with that girl, or when you first met her, or and just write a little short story. And then
That's a really good idea.
yeah, and then just post it. You could just write, you know what I mean? Just make it a post. Just make it a post and put it on the group or anywhere, and then you can collect all and keep all those posts and then string it together. And because like we were saying, like until I put a deadline on stuff, even though it's uncomfortable, and like you said, put a deadline on it. And for me, I'm all like, if somebody goes, well, should we do it this week or next week? I'm all, let's do it this week, because if we do it next week, we just wasted a week that we could have been to do the second meeting the next week. So we'd be already one in, or what, that's my thinking. It's all that time delay could have been start here and then do it again here, then to just wait.
Exactly.
And then just
And
wait.
we never know if tomorrow's given, right? It it
You
may
don't
not
know.
come. And so
Yeah.
today, right now, this is what we've got. And that was another lesson that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, because here again, a year ago, laying there in bed and wondering if I was going to live and everything, I didn't really care if I went back to work at that point in time. And I was wondering, God, are you done with me? You know, is this my ticket out? Are you
right,
telling me it's over? And at the end of UPW, I knew that it wasn't over and he wasn't done with me. And that had been another learning experience that I needed to take up to the next level.
right.
But and now I'm going, man, I'm gonna be 60 this year. I There's not enough time. I gotta have all this stuff done because
That
who
hit me
knows?
too. Yeah, believe me, that hit me too. Yeah, I'm this year, well, along in October, so that's a while. I'll be 62 because I'm 61 now. But where
We
does
look darn good for that age,
no, we
John.
look great, yeah. 60's the new 30. But but no, and so yeah, at some point you're like, I'm gonna do it now or never do it. And the thought of never doing it, because before, like younger, it's like, and I this is for you people who are younger. You think, oh, I got time. You have like, oh, I'm gonna do this one day I'm gonna do this. One day I'm gonna do that. One day, and you know what? One day never comes, and pretty soon you like wake up and you're older and you're going, oh my God, I can't say one day. You reach this age where you're like, I want to do this. I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it because I don't have the luxury of saying one day,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well,
Yeah.
so in my dad got, like I said, he had a stroke in his spinal column, and he'd had a few, I mean, he'd had heart surgery, he'd had back surgery, but I mean, he was one tough nut. He was
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
ever ready bunny. He
Right.
just kept going, but he was pretty ill. And my mom had rheumatoid arthritis, and I told her, you need to go in and get checked because she wasn't acting right. And um, I had asked her a few weeks after she went in, I said, did you get your test results? And she said, yeah. And I said, what were they? And she says, oh, they all came back fine. I said, I don't believe it. We're going back.
Yeah.
And 3 days after we had that conversation, she dropped dead of a
Oh,
brain aneurysm in what's now my kitchen back in Idaho. And while dad was getting ready to step on his medical telemetry machine to send all of his vitals into the hospital, and she was gone before she hit the floor. I mean, if you're gonna go, that's a great way to go.
yeah. Yeah. I
But for
agree
the
with that.
ones behind,
Yeah.
that's pretty traumatic.
Right. Right. Yeah. My dad went through.
And so all of you, like John said, who are going, oh, I'll do that another day, oh, that restaurant, I'm going to stop there next time I come through. Oh, no, no, no. You
No.
stop there today. If there's a roadside sign that you want to stop and read, for heaven's sakes, do it today.
Right. Yeah. If you want to do something, do it now yeah, because now is all you got because you don't know if you're going to have another time.
That is the God's honest truth.
It is. And it's a realization that it's kind of liberating in a way because it makes it so you're like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna take that uncomfortable action. I'm gonna do that thing. I'm not gonna have a regret. I'm gonna know in my mind that I did what I could do, and it didn't work or it worked because I mean you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you don't have anything right now and you go after it, you're either gonna still not have it or you're gonna have something
Right.
you want.
Right.
Yeah.
There's really no loss in it.
There's no loss. No. No, and if you don't ever take that chance, yeah, you lose. You lose the possibility that you could have had it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it was you. I can't remember where I saw it, but I think it was you that said this the other day to somebody. And I know that Dean and Tony say it too, but when you stand before God
Oh
and
yeah.
he says, this is what your life could have been
Oh
if you
God.
just would have stepped into it. How many opportunities did I give you along the way if you just would have done it? And I don't want to be that person. Just
No, and I do say that, and then I'm thinking like, but that can't be true because then that would be hell. That wouldn't be heaven because but yeah, like here's everything I wanted you to have. And then the other thing I heard too is that God sends people to help you. so when you're turning down help from people and stuff, they're from God. Like that bad joke where there's a flood and the guy's on the roof and he's saying, Lord, Lord, save me, I'm gonna drown. And the guy in a boat comes and he says, no, the Lord's gonna save me. And somebody else comes, no, the Lord's gonna save me. And then the guy drowns and he's all, Lord, where were you? He's all, I sent the boat and I sent all these other people and you said no.
Exactly.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how many times I used to say that when I was younger, that I was pretty hard-headed, and instead of God just throwing little pebbles down and hit me on the head and say, hey, Jana, you're supposed
Yeah.
to do this, that he'd only do that so many times, then he'd get the cast iron frying pan and, smack me alongside the head and go, hey,
Hey, I
this
got
is
your
where you're
attention
supposed
now.
to go.
Right. It's just, yeah, because you think about it, he's using people to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all here to help each other and connect. And I don't think he's just gonna come down and snatch you.
Yeah, yeah. But no, this Zoom thing is just amazing.
Oh, it
Here
is.
again, this is just in this past year and here now I know how to do an Obvio dashboard and how to do meetings and stuff in there. That's like amazing. But a year ago, I mean, that's another where one of those other pictures from that ad, that
Yeah.
I did for the beta group came from, was from me. I accidentally snapped a picture on my tablet because I was
Oh,
trying to log into UPW that very first morning and
oh,
had no idea what I was doing.
when
And
it
I
clicked.
accidentally hit the camera button at the same time. And it was like, ah. But here again, I think that was a God thing,
It was. Oh, here, you're gonna need this picture.
right? You're going to need it.
Yeah,
It may be awful, but you're going to need it someday.
it's funny. Yeah, and without COVID, there wouldn't have been the whole Zoom thing. It's changed a bunch, like how they do those conferences and everything else. Before they'd rent big facilities and convention centers and everything, and you'd have to get a hotel, you'd have to travel there, you'd have the ticket price. And now it's all, they can, millions of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All over the world. I mean, here's these people on the other side of the world getting up at 9 o'clock at night so that they can do the event, until
Yeah.
10 or 12 of the next day. And it's like, holy cow. But so Date with Destiny that I did in December, which I can't say enough. If everybody could put that on their list to do, it will change your life,
Wow.
everything about your life.
Did Dana do that too, or no?
No, but here again, I try to put, without copyright infringement, and I don't teach it the same way he does because I'm not Tony, but I try to take basic principles, not, things that
Right,
are already published and stuff, not that
right,
he's,
right, right.
but try to put that into my reset so that, because holy cow, if we can just convince ourselves that 90% of what we think is true in our mind is from events that started happening at birth
Right.
with our, it's funny because I'll quote you in the monkey brain, John's monkey brain, but here we're trying to make sense of all these events. When we were little kids, we don't have the life experience to understand, here's mom and dad, they're mad at me, I don't know what I did, I must have, done this wrong, so I must be bad. And it's not that. Mom and dad had a bad day, or they
Right,
just
right.
had a fight, and it was nothing to do with us. But because of that, we make up all these stories in our head about we're not good enough, we're
Exactly.
not worthy.
Right, right.
And so, as part of my thing, I try to get rid of those so that when they get through and they've lost, a lot of weight, they've reset their hormones, the inflammation's gone, they feel better. But, we're creatures of habit. And if they don't have the mindset right, if they have not done the work, then the minute things get super tough, we all go back to what's comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And, what's acceptable. Ooh, that whole thing of Haagen-Dazs looks pretty good. And
Right,
so
right,
does that bag of chips. And,
right, right.
but if you've learned that I am worthy and I am enough and I don't need that, then, hopefully I've given them the tools that they're not going to fall back into that That's what's normal. Their new normal is they're good the way that they're at. And if they need something, if they've had a bad day, they're going to go take a walk. They're going to call a
Right.
friend. They're
Right.
going to have other tools, to utilize. So yeah, that's kind of what my program's based on. Is it's not just the reset for your hormones and your metabolism and everything, but your whole mindset too.
Yeah, because at some point you have to love and respect yourself enough to not do things that you know will harm you.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, and then you're just like you're kind of harming yourself, but you know you are, but you think that you're not worthy. So that I don't know, it's a weird cycle thing that some people, but you have to really come to that realization where you respect and love yourself enough where I'm not going to do that. I know that's
Right.
good for me.
Yep. And I still had problems with that, even
Oh,
though I'd
really?
done
It's
two
hard.
UPWs and everything. And Date with Destiny changed that for me. Now,
Nice.
here again, I don't think I can change these women's lives or men's or whoever goes through my program to that extent. That's a Tony thing. That's a gift that he has and he can share. But if I can at least get them on a track that until they can get to a date with destiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody, I swear, John, everybody listening to this, make it a priority because it is a life-changing event, just life-changing.
Right. And we'll invest in other things, but when it comes to investing in ourselves, we go cheap. A lot of times people do. And if you think of it, an investment in yourself will multiply throughout your whole life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
It's
I'm living proof of that. And so are
yeah.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, huh?
Yeah.
But so what was I gonna ask you now? So you got your course now and you got people in it and you're doing really good. And then you're in my course, which I appreciate. Thank
Oh,
you.
and it's been great.
Oh, thank you. Um yeah, and then like I was saying, we've always been all a coach is really is an encourager. I had to come to this realization, even hearing like Dana will go, "Oh, Coach John," and I'm like, it's kind of weird to hear because I always think of like when coach, it's like a football coach or a baseball coach or something like that. But if you really think a coach is an encourager, and also a coach is someone who can see talent in someone else and draws it out of them. You see,
Absolutely.
that's really what a coach is. It's someone who sees your potential and sees in potential in others and then pulls it out of you, gets you to realize that you're special, gets you to see yourself like through their eyes
Mhm.
and through others' eyes too, because most people we don't see our potential, and we'll have people all the time tell us, "Oh no, you're so talented, I look up to you so much," and we'll go, "No, really, we won't." It's hard for us to accept that, but that's something to really move into. It's not like you're having a big head, it's just accepting who you are and the gift that God gave you and letting yourself see who you are and the way God created you.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
huge.
Yep. And that's another thing I love about the community that you and I are in is the fact that most of us, we believe in God and
Yeah.
we know that this is a way to serve him.
Right.
We're into serving people more than we are ourselves.
Oh,
And
yes.
it shows. I mean, the group of friends, and I can't thank you enough for the people that you have introduced me to. I mean, they're a fantastic group of people. And that's just it, is now that I mean, you and I will always know each other, and we'll
Yeah.
probably always communicate
Right,
probably
right.
once a week in the group that we
In
share.
the oh, yeah, definitely.
And but we each have our own niche too. And so when we each get people that go, "Ooh, that would be really good for you to meet so and so or come to this group or do that."
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, so it's just going to enrich our lives that much more. It's just such a phenomenal thing.
yeah.
And
And
I know that some people think, "Ooh, that must be a cult." They're doing weird things. And it's just such a sad thing because they don't see the big picture and they don't see the community and the love and and so many resources. I mean,
yes.
holy cow.
Oh, I know. And everyone's ready to step up and help the other person. There's no competition in there. There's several holistic people in our group, and it's great. You guys collaborate, and I'm like, oh, you need to meet them. You two need to meet. And even we have people with media companies and starting that and everything else and doing the podcast and there's no competition, but we're all helping each other. And what I'm enjoying it, I've seen so much growth. And when I think of what this is going to grow into, is we start all stepping up and out, as we get more and more into this, it'll be like, oh, that speaker there, how do you know them? Well, we all started off in this small group, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I see that happening where we're going to be where people are going to be all, them really? Yeah, because we all encouraged each other, and just who else is in the Lori Rowe.
Uh-huh.
She just joined. I just she's all I recruited her,
Oh.
and she's cool. And I'd like to see Tina more in there.
Oh, I know. I wish she was on there more
She's in
because
there, I think, but
she's a lovely individual.
oh,
I
she's
mean,
awesome.
the four of us up there in Portland that weekend when Dana
Yeah, tell
came
that
in.
story. That's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. So yeah, as far as community goes, here's all of us on Zoom, we
Right,
don't know each other. And I asked Bear to come up. That was my first, that I met in person
right.
from the virtual world.
Like you knew him your
And
whole life almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dana, our classmate from Bears,
All right.
she got with Tina and they were talking and they decided that she was going to fly into Portland. And Sylvie Lawson lives right down the road and from Tina. And then they knew that I only lived 2 hours away and they said, "Hey, come up." And we had the most delightful weekend in Portland. Now I missed the karaoke night, darn it, because everybody had a little bit of fun that night.
Yeah, I guess.
But me and Dana had a sleepover and
Yeah.
made a funny video for John's
Yeah,
class.
that was good. It was funny.
And it's like you see these people and you know that you've never met them in face to face,
Right,
in the same room.
right,
But it doesn't matter. You know them. You know
right.
their heart. You know them. And I mean, you can't wait to go up and give them a great big hug. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like you've known them your entire life. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, you know, all four of us that got together that weekend, we communicate all the time,
right.
via Messenger. And yeah. And so when I go across country, when I head east in April, or May, probably the end of April. I'm gonna go see Jeannie,
Okay.
and
Oh, in April, you're gonna go see Jeannie?
yeah, well, it's gonna be May by the time I see her, but and I'm gonna try to go and see Lisa in Florida, and
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get Dana to fly down and see Jeannie and I, so that I don't want to drive clear up to Syracuse, New York from Georgia. It is a little bit expensive to drive that big behemoth, so.
Now you're gonna see when you're in Florida, you're gonna see Maria too, or no?
Yes,
Maria?
well, she's in
She's down south.
yeah, clear down in Miami. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's far.
if she can come up, but
Or
I
maybe
know
she
that
can
it's
go
gonna
up and see
be hours,
Lisa.
but she might come up. Yeah. So I'm gonna let her know when I'm gonna be there. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. My daughter's in Greensboro,
Oh, is she really?
North Carolina. Yeah. So that could be fun too. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Um, so my youngest son, like I said, whose house this is, and he has been into gaming and the virtual world since he was like 13, and
Right.
he's 31 now. And so now that he works all over the country, he's been to see some of his friends that he's had on these different platforms, and gone to their houses for like Thanksgiving or
Nice.
Easter or whatever, or he's in just the vicinity and goes over for the weekend to have a barbecue. And I always kind of said, is that okay? you don't
Yeah.
you
That's
don't know
weird.
those
That's
people,
weird. You played games on the computer with them and you're going to their house?
right? So when I went to Portland, I said, is this weird? He goes, Mom, you're asking the wrong person. This is normal. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
really, it's
great.
exciting. At some point in time, I'm going to make it down to see you because
Yeah,
you live
definitely.
where I grew up,
Oh,
basically,
that's right.
and I still have friends down there.
Okay,
So
yeah, you come down, let me know. Definitely.
absolutely,
Um, yeah, well, the weather will get nice.
it will.
Yeah.
It will.
Actually, you're talking like Vacaville, right? Fairfield
Actually,
or
Fairfield, yeah.
Fairfield, yeah. That's not far from here. Take Highway 12 or yeah, the Antioch Bridge and right there. Yeah, that's not far. It's like maybe an hour.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, probably this fall I'm going to come
Okay.
down.
Let me know.
I have my friend in Fairfield, and then I've got another one in Petaluma. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll be down.
Nice, nice. That'd be fun. But yeah, it's just incredible this whole journey. Like I said, I know it's gonna be like, oh, we all knew each other when we just started, and now we're all doing these things.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and like you
And
said,
hopefully we have lots and lots of years left, because I
yeah,
know all of us have big plans now. We all have big dreams and big plans, and
right.
hopefully God's gonna make sure that we all live to see those come true for
Well,
him as well as us.
I actually think he's starting a movement. He is. He's starting a movement with well, not just us, but he's starting a movement to connect people. And I really think that his movement is for people to realize their worth, because it's got to start with that.
Mhm.
For them to move forward as Christians, they have to own who they are.
Absolutely.
And that it has to start with that, because if they don't believe in themselves, if we don't believe in ourselves, and then we won't walk in our power.
Yep.
And I really feel that's what he's starting, that an awakening of who you are. So that's that's really what I feel, and that's what I feel. The whole thing I'm doing is like it's a ministry, as far as for people to own who they are, because
Yep.
they've been lied to, and
Oh yeah.
the deceiver wants you to stay down, and whispers and lies in your ears, and until you realize who you are and move forward and strain.
Well, I'm going to give you an idea
Yeah.
and see if you run with it. But I think every year you ought to interview the same people on like their anniversary or around it to see
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
in their lives, so that they might not see the growth, but then, like, oh, look what's happened. Look what you've
Right.
done.
And we could even, yeah, interview. Okay. That I like that idea. That's a
The
good
anniversary
idea.
edition.
The anniversary. So like the 1 year ago. So like, and then say, hey, last time you were here, that you were this, and now you're, yeah, perfect. I love that.
Yepers.
Well, Jana, it's been really fun, and as always, enjoyed talking to you.
You, John, thank you very much for having me.
You're very special, and I enjoy that you're in my course, and I look forward to being in yours in the future.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and thank you very much. I
Sure.
really enjoyed this interview.
Thank you. And I look forward to coming back next year.
Hey, perfect. All right, next year.
All righty.
Okay. All
All
right,
righty.
Jana, you have a good night.
You
Bye.
too.